shadows where I cried. A demon's voice, my hope denied. Wrestling demons, they pulled me low. But deep inside, I felt the alone. Cry, oh cry, we feel your pain. Dreams seem far, but they will rain. Over foolish rise, don't fade away. From ashes to glory, it's a brand new day. With courage in my heart, I'll shatter the chains. I'll sing out loud, let the world know my name. Oh, rise, you're stronger now. The throne awaits, take your bar. Once lost in the digital night, battles raged, but I'll win the fight. From pixelated tears to shining dreams, I cast away all those haunting screams. Fight, oh fight, we're with you still. Let the melody be your will. Over foolish rise, don't fade away. From ashes to glory, it's a brand new day. With courage in my heart, I'll shatter the chains. I'll sing out loud, let the world know my name. With every stream I face my fears. The laughter, the tears, the silent cheers. Once just a ghost, now I found my light. From the dark abyss I will take flight. Believe, oh believe in your own might. The stars above are shining bright. So here I stand, no longer a fool, conquering mountains, breaking every rule. With every pixel, my spirit soars. Over foolish forever, I'll open the door. Soar, oh, soar to heights unknown. The king of the game, humility your throne. Over foolish rise, don't fade away. From ashes to glory, it's a brand new day. With courage in my heart, I'll shatter the chains. I'll sing out loud, let the world know my name. In this opera of life, I take my stand. A demon streamer, now I'm in command. Through struggles and strife, I embrace the fight. Over foolish forever, I shine so bright. Shine, oh shine, let your spirit flow. The legend is born, let the whole
Well, guys. Welcome back to Over Foolish. It is another beautiful night here in Italy, and we are gonna stream another horror game. As usual, it gets so lonely here, we gotta continue our story. The last time, our sweet princess just eaten us alive. This time, we're gonna choose for the village and see what happens. So get on your sofa, take some water with you, and enjoy the stream. We're starting the game right now. Also, I just need to make myself a little bit more big and set the zoom too. There we go. Should be fine. Also, I have to remove my long hair if I can. Ha! So it doesn't cover the text box. Okay, we start the game, and we start dubbing. As usual, guys, I remind you that my pronunciation of English is absolutely as you can see, is absolutely terrible. So please forgive me and don't be too judgy, okay? Ebi Hime. Okay, next time. I mean, the past time, I noticed that the volumes of the game were a little bit too strong. You didn't let me know that by chat, and that's your fault, chat. But this time, I'm just gonna put them very low so you can hear me properly. Okay, load. This times, we're gonna proceed to the village and see what happens. Here we go. Her arms will be sturdy for many years of washing clothes and milking cows, but she will be kind to you and compassionate, just like a mother. You do not know what the monster are like. You hardly even spoke to yours. You are only guessing. You are not a complete fool. However, despite the tendency to daydream, and you don't have a few reservations, peasants do not, as you know from your voracious reading, have much money, nor do they have much food. It might be hard to convince a resident of the village, even the kindly washerwoman of your fantasies, to take in a complete stranger. Still, you must try. That is all you can do, really. So you run to the village. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you manage it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that the time has begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It is still cold, though, and still foggy. It is still dark, too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, and it hangs above your head, round and pearl, or orb, or a crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the village, nestling among the hills like a diorama. Open new bubbles within you. You have finally made it. Surely not, but your salvation awaits you. You follow the winding dirt part of the village, looking this way and that, but you hope such precious, fragile things soon begin to fade. Oh, something happened to... Okay. My screen just blinked for no reason. Okay. The village, up close, does not look half as welcoming as you imagine it. There are cottages, yes, but they are in a state of despair. There are holes in the roofs and holes in the windows. Most of the doors are tightly shut, but others are gaping open. The kitchen behind them even darkened in the night sky which shrouded you. There are no lights on in any of the window, and neither can you see any people, insomniac like you, at them. You cannot hear anything either, beyond the sounds of your own footsteps and the low, mournful sight of the wind. Are they all dead again? The village is quiet, quite eerily so. It is immediately obvious, even to a naive girl such as yourself, that something terrible must have befallen this village. Oh, it's the plague, right? They died because of the plague, the princess told us. You know before you try your luck at one of the houses that nobody will answer you. There will be no kindly red-armed washerwoman to welcome you here, no matter how much you wish for it. Well, at least if there is nobody, you can sleep in whatever house you want, right? And see if there is any food. But that does not stop you from wishing, regardless. Your knuckles rap smartly against the wooden door. Your efforts prove, however, to be in vain. There is nobody here to hear you and entreaties. How very sad. You try another door, then another, but the result is the same, regardless of how many doors you rap upon. Nobody answers you. How could they? There is nobody there. Once again, you have found yourself all alone. At least, you have found some dwelling in which you can rest your weary head. Why don't you just go inside the house? Will you utilize one of the cottages for your purpose? Nobody is here, you might as well. But no, An abandoned cottage is not what you are looking for. You would far rather have a companionship, would you not? Bravely, you swallow your tears. You wipe your eyes with the back of your arm in a well practiced motion. Then inhale. You square your shoulders and you keep on going. Surely the village cannot be completely deserted. There must be one person here, at the very least, who can help you. That is what you are thinking as you resume your search. You flit from cottage to cottage, with precious little to show for your determination, until you make yet another discovery. This village, with its squat thatched cottage, bathing in the moon's glow, has a church. Well, of course, it has a church. The villagers who once dwelt here were not godless heathens. Not that their faith did them all that much good in the end. Still, the sight of the church shoots your overtaxed heart. You were so focused on your fantasies of a kindly washer moment taking you in, you did not pause to entertain the fancy of a kindly nun doing much the same. All hope is not lost. You approach the church, which seems to tower over your despite in being so humble. The church is a small one, but it is stout and sturdy. It must be, for it has withstood. Okay, for it has withstood centuries, forever standing, sentinel on this hill, like a relic from a bygone era. The church does not have any stained glass window, but it does not need them. Even without more luxurious strapping, the church still exudes an air of dignified solemnity. The stone building infringed by a sizable graveyard, one which occupies the rest of the hilltop and some of its sloping sides. The graves, which have been planted by generations of gardeners, are hewn from a similar stone to that which the church walls are made of. Some of the gravestones are shaped like lozenges, okay, while the others are shaped like crosses. A handful of a hearthstone are even shaped like angels, though these are few and far between. There are very few people in the village such as this one who can afford such a luxurious final resting place. You look at the tombstone with almost a childlike curiosity, forgetting your examinations of the visceral, heart-rending fear which gripped you as you ran through the forest. You are out of the wood now, and you have subconsciously already begun to relax. You try to read the names away into the mirrored tombstone, but it is dark and you are tired, and some of these graves are very, very old indeed. You strain eyes, but you do not have much luck in this endeavor. Oh, well. Such a superfluous detail are not important. You eventually tire of examining the grave and turn. This graveyard is an expensive one, usually so. Given the village itself it is so small, how can it boast so many corpses? Boast so many corpses. And there is much to explore. You walk about the perimeter of the church, casting your gaze first here, then there, then everywhere, consumed as you are by your immense all-encompassing curiosity. And as you do, you see hair. Oh, that's another girl, okay. Are you gonna kill us too? She looks like an ordinary girl, small and scrawny, just like yourself, but she is much more than her unremarkable appearance might suggest. For some moments you observe her hiding all the while in the shadow cast by the church, like a furtive lizard climbing against a rocky edifice to shroud itself from the sun. Yo, Evan, welcome back! There is no sunlight here, though. There is only the night sky and the stars and the moon. Quickly, Evan, can you tell me if the volumes of the game are overlapping my voice? Who is this? This is a lady that we find in the village. We completed the castle and now we are in the village. Beneath the moonlights, a silvery implement, the girl is clutching shimmers. It takes you a few moments to see what it is that the girl is clutching in her hands. No, the sound is perfect. Okay. So I have to remember the sound bar in this way. Okay. It is not until you see her manipulate it, its sharp edge biting into the heart, that you understand. It is a shovel. This girl is standing in an isolated corner of the churchyard late at night as she is digging a grave. Well, you suppose she could always be digging a hole for the sake of it, but her work seems much too precise for this to be the result of mere whimsy. It is hard for you to see her face, given the distance between the pair of you, but her posture is one that speaks of supreme concentration. She moves slowly, mechanically, like a woman on a mission, driving the hand of her shovel into the heart over and over. Her motions are regular enough to be repetitive. There is something hypnotic. Almost in the manner of which she attends this task. Should you risk interrupting her? Do you dare? You get the feeling that she would not appreciate it. The shovel in her hand, meanwhile, is rather hefty. If she wished it, she could cause you no small amount of damage with it. Cold anxiety make your skin prickle. You do not know if you should risk speaking to her when she in her dark cloak, it's not a dark cloak, it's green, but it's okay, with her shovel looks so very strange. But what do you have left to lose? You have come this far. It would be folly to turn back now. It is with this thought that you mind that you decide to approach the strange girl. Your footsteps are quiet. You have grown accustomed to slinking around like a cat, but they are not quiet enough. The girl must be finely tuned because she blinks. Then she turns. Oh, she turns. Your eyes meet, and once they do you feel your breath catching your throat. You did not have a clear view of the girl before, concealing as you were in the shadow, but now she's looking at you. You can tell that she is pretty. I remind you that she likes girls. Our protagonist that have pink hair is a lady who likes girls. Her skin is very smooth and her hair, though obscured by a dark hood, is very fair. Her eyes, meanwhile, are clear, cool blue like eyes. Those eyes of her, which are large with unease, are fringed with very long fair eyelashes. She looks as though she has stopped out of the page of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she is some kind of a vision, a walking dream, an hallucination. Yes, we love lesbian. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say she's lesbian. It's just the fact that she because she imagined like to being with the prince too, but she like beauty women's. Like to stay with beauty women. And sometimes she feels something, but you have to know that she's actually still young. So perhaps it is that phase where you don't really know if you like women's or men's and so. And yeah, she just get like dragged in emotions. Let's put it in this way. But there is not proof that she actually wanna get sexual with women. Okay, just emotional, just like love, like how do you call it, platonical love. Okay, but no, she is none of those things. The shovel she is clutching in her hands looks solid enough. It is pointed tip glittering weakly in the moonlight. You still yourself, expecting perhaps some sort of outburst. But the tension soon drains from the girl's slender shoulders. Her fingers, which one were gripping the handle of the shovel, tightly relax. Her lips curve upwards at the edges. She is smiling, and what a smile it is. Oh, she is smiling. It is transformative. When she smiles, she looks radiant, angelic almost. Hers in a smile that is suffused with light that your eyes begin to prickle from it. What is it? What do you like? What do you mean, what do I like? Like women or men's? I do like women's. It will not be the first time you have wept during this night, and neither would it be so surprising if you did. You have been through a lot. You must be exhausted. The girl holding the shovel seems to realize this, because she bridges the distance between you cautiously, as one might approach a skittish cat. Then she said in a rough voice, which does not match her dainty appearance. Well, she does live in a rural village. What were you expecting? Oh my god. Oh, it is so good to see another person. I was afraid it was the only person left alive, the only one in the whole world. Now this is quite the effusive greetings. Her introductory speech is riddled with the exclamation marks. She is rather more personable than her apparel would make one suggest. You, a well-bred young lady, cannot help but feel overwhelmed. It is your turn now to be on your guard. Anxiously, you observe the girl with the shovel, and you ask what she means. She looks like a Sao shooter girl. I don't know. I know it is an anime, but I saw it and I don't like it, so I just didn't follow it. Oh, do you not know? There is an awful lot you do not know. So much, in fact, it will fill a whole encyclopedia. Now a whole library. You shake your head ashamed at your ignorance, and the girl frowns. You mustn't be from around these parts, I guess. I shouldn't know. This village is a small one, and everybody knows everybody else. The girl's expressions fall. At least they used to, back when there was still people to know. That ain't the case now, though. Not after the plague. I knew it. So you didn't kill them, but you have bones around you, so you're gonna be some kind of a killer or something. I know that. There was a plague? That would certainly explain why the village, when you walking through it, was so quiet. Did everybody else succumb to this mysterious illness? That's right, it's just me here now. I've not seen another human being in a long time. It gets so lonely here, she said the title of the game. Now, there is an interesting turn of face. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? It gets so lonely here, yeah. Because we died one time and the narrator just restarted the story because he told us we deserve a better ending. And yeah, we are remembering. It is a little bit like, the story of the princess, Slay the Princess. You kind of remind something of the past, even if you restart. You do not have much time to ponder this. However, because of the girl takes a step towards you. Oh, but where are my manners? They must have gone rusty after being on my own for so long. My apology, miss. You look like you've come a long way. You said you were a traveler, yes? And your hands are very cold, just like ice. Would you like to come inside? Maybe have something warm to eat and to drink. My home is small, I'm afraid, and my food ain't nothing fancy, but I'd be more than willing to share. It is not every day another girl stops by, especially no one as pretty as yourself. I'm feeling very blessed, just she likes us too. Okay. The girl laughed, a carefree, airy sort of laugh, which does not match your initial impression of her, because she's crazy. She's gonna kill us 100%. She said again, and yeah. She's like a representation of a Reaper. No, I think, well, in the first story, we got this princess, and the princess basically killed and eaten alive all his subjects in the castle and servants because she told us she loved them so much she wanted be part she wanted them to be a part of her. Okay, so she was completely crazy, and she had like a dress with all the fangs that resembles some kind of a vampire because she drank the blood too. But she wasn't a vampire. She was just crazy, just a crazy human. So I think she's the same, and she have the bones. So I think she's some kind of undertaker or something. Yeah, they're completely crazy. They're completely crazy. You thought when you saw her among the graves that she would be more distant somehow and more mysterious. Perhaps you are mixing her with somebody else. You are remembering what happened before in the story before. You are still unsure if you can trust this girl, but her invitation is an appealing one. It is much more appealing, certainly, than spending the night outdoors in the cold, keeping on the graves. You get holidays on Thursday, very good. What are you, a romantic poet? Please, you make a show of pondering the girl's invitation at the very least. You do not want to appear too eager, but your acquaintances is, alas, inevitably, inevitably. How do you read this one? Inevitably, I think. Why would you even refuse her? She's the first friendly face you have seen all night. Without her, you would be all alone. You will be on the stream, absolutely. Your hostess leads you to a small, humble home located but a stone's throws away from the church, built in the shadow of a twisted, towering sycamore. The girl's home in such a state, it seems a folly to even call it a home. Hovel, would you, to be more appropriate descriptor. But when your hostess leads you inside, her eyes alive, and she said, "Here we are, home sweet home." You don't have the heart to tell that you don't find her home very homey or very sweet. That will be incredibly rude. As a guest, you ought to be more appreciative. Oh my god, yeah. It's terrible. I mean, I would live in here, but I'm a strange person. Because we were always late on the stream. Until we have the main story to finish, we're gonna play WUWA one day yes and one day no. One day yes and one day no. Half-heartedly, you look around your newfound surroundings. The ceiling is supported by wooden joist, and it is perilously low. Not so much so that you are in danger of bumping your head, but just enough to feel claustrophobic. There is a fire in the corner, though it is not consigned to a grate. The fire stand is blazing in the open, a circle of logs set alight like a scenes from the witch kitchen. You should play. I play what I want to play. Above the fire hangs a silvery pot suspended from one of the wooden eaves. Other objects of interest are hung from the eaves. Iron implements you take to be cooking utensils. Various herbs. Various herbs and strip of meat left to cure. The smell of cooking fills the air, mingled with the sharp, sour scent of unwashed bodies. How, you wonder, does your hostess clean herself? You do not see bathtub anywhere. Perhaps she does not possess one. The girl home is unremarkable in every regard, but it is, you suppose, better than nothing. At least there is a roof over your head and food to put in your belly. The girl looked to the pot, suspended over the fire, which she gives a stir with a ladle. Then she brings the ladle to her lips to taste whatever concoction she has brewed within it. You can only hope that she is not like a weird sister from the famous play Brewing Abroad with Fanny Snake's fillet. Yes, I think this is just about done, the girl says to nobody in particular. She set the ladle down, back into the pot, then looks to you and smiles. Do you want something? It looks as though you have come quite a long way, and you must be hungry. These words are like music to your ears, even more divine than the trumpets of the gods. Most loyal angel, you are so hungry, and you could eat a horse. Horse. Not that there are many horses in the immediate vicinity. You express your interest to your hostess, who smiles in response. I thought you'd like the sound of that. Just give me a few moments. Your hostess retrieves the two earthenware bowls from a cupboard, which rickety hinges into which she pours two hefty helpings of whatever it is she is cooking. Which way did you go to the village? You just got two ways. You either go to the castle or go to the village. It's just these two choices, and the story finishes with that two choices. You don't have basically any other choices. These she served with bread, which is so hefty it could be used as a murder weapon. It is not much, I'm afraid. It is only soup and bread. It should take the edge of your appetite, though. Is there no shore? No, there was just the village and the castle. For the moment, at least. The soup does not look like anything you would typically consume, but the soup's poor presentation does not dissuade you. It is true enough that people eat first with their eyes, but when one is hungry enough to become obliging enough to eat almost anything, why else do you think that people were stranded upon the desert island will resort to cannibalism? Humans are creatures of necessity. You like to wrap yourself up in pretension, but in actuality, you are not much better than animals. Now that I think of it, if the princess of the castle doesn't have any servant, that means she doesn't have the possibility to get food either, so she eat people because she needed, right? I think so. Where are they she can get food, though? You like to wrap yourself in your pretensions, but in actuality, you are not much better than animals. You are so hungry, your stomach is echoing a happen, that you certainly descend upon your food like an animal. I left the stream the other time and I had to go to the gym, sorry. It's okay, no problem. Go to the gym, have fun. Your teeth glint, your incisors gland, and soon you have to consume all that your hostess has offered to you. Your hostess watches while you eat, and she giggles once you have finished it. Did you enjoy that? Oh, you catch your hostess' gaze, suddenly abashed. You were so hungry you failed to account for her judgment. Now you have some food in your belly, though, and you have been suitably warmed. You all serve consciousness in returning. Did you not make a fool out of yourself? You demur shyly, looking at your lap, fearful all the while of what your hostess might think of you. You do not want her to take against you. Fortunately for you, however, and for your fragile ego, your hostess is not the judgmental sort. She is not like the girls you grew up with. Well, I am glad you enjoy it. It's nice to see my food being appreciated so heartily. I know I'm not the best, but I've been practicing for a long while. I used to cook for my father all the time, you see. This remark catches your attention. Quizzically, you look at your hostess as abashment over your animalistic eating habits suspended. What happened to her father? It seems a grim thing to contemplate after having eaten, but did your host mention something about a plague? Yes, you hostess say, her voice soft now and serious. That's right, there was a plague. And what of the villagers? What of her father? They're all gone now. Gone. Yes, you see. Your hostess rearranged herself upon her chair, one slender leg folded over the other. Then she began her tale in earnest. My family has a history. We lived here for centuries by the church, so we can tend to the graveyard. Ah, so this abode is centuries old then. It would certainly explain the dearth. My father used to prepare bodies for burial, so she's actually an undertaker. Black when he was alive. He built the coffin and he dug the graves and he lowered the coffin into the dirt. Bye, have a nice sleep. I know it might be sound like a awful job, but somebody got to do it. There is no sense averting our eyes from death, not when it happened to be the best of us. It is a noble profession, one that been handed down in our family for generations. My father's father was a grave digger, and so was my father, and my father. Digging graves is in our blood. It is who we are. My, there was a surprisingly pretty speech coming from a girl who lives in the countryside. A girl who is without much in the way of education. It is apparent just to listen. It is apparent just to listen to her, and the way she slurs her syllables together, that she has never had any elocution lesson, not like you. There is a determination, however, to err and a pride in her genealogy, which gives her a respectable aura. Guys, sorry, but this game has such a complicated word to read. I'm doing my best. You cannot help but be impressed. So you ask your hostess, does that make her one in a long line of grave diggers? Yes, your hostess. The grave diggers say that's about right, though I was never supposed to be a grave digger myself. It is not a woman profession. That's what everybody say. My father didn't mind that though. He taught me everything he knew and then some. I might be a woman, but I have plenty of upper body strength. I can dig graves just as well as my father could, without breaking a sweat, so you're pretty strong. I cannot see that from your body, but apparently. It's not actually how the body works, but okay. To the despair of my mother up in heaven, I'm sure. I'm sure if she were still alive, she's rather I focus on more feminine pursuits like basket weaving or sewing to better attract a suitor. Not that would do much good now. There is nobody around who would court me, not for miles and miles. Actually, you don't need to do anything else. You're beautiful, so it's gonna be happen anyway. It's just that there's nobody else, you know. And what happened to her mother? She died when I was very young during the childbirth. I was only 5 years old. Oh well, you can relate to her, at least upon this point. Your parents are not dead, at least not as far as you can aware, but you have not seen them in an awfully long time. They sent you away as a son, as you were old enough, and they never once bothered to check up on you. Oh, what a nice parents you have. For many years, there have been no letters, nor any visits. You offered the gravedigger your condolences. You do not know if they will help, but you feel like you cannot say nothing that would seem heartless. The gravedigger, however, does not seem too upset by this turn of events, because she smiled, albeit somberly. It is alright. It was ages ago. I don't remember her too well, and I never really had the luxury of sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I had too much work to do. Around the house, you ask? That, too. I was the oldest child, so it was my job after my mother died to manage the sweeping and the cooking and looking after all of my siblings too. Oh, you had siblings. You blink intrigued, the glance about your hostess' humble lodges. You do not see any siblings in the immediate vicinity. Where could they be? The grave digger must have noticed your roving eyes. You are not being exactly subtle, because this shakes her head. I had siblings, two younger brothers. They're both gone now. Oh, you should have known. You apologize to the grave digger for your lack of facts, but she does not seem upset by these folks' past. Don't apologize. It's not your fault. My brothers weren't long for this world anyway. The youngest had died when he was still a babe, and the oldest he died before he reached double digits. So not even being 10, okay. I was upset about it at the time, of course, but I've become to terms with it. It doesn't seem by your face, though. Life's a fleeting things in the wicked old world. There's something you learn in this trade. Digging graves, I mean. I've dug graves for the elderly and the infirm, but I have also dug graves for young babes still in their swaddling clothes. That's the nature of death. It comes for all of us in the end, no matter how old we are, no matter how much money we have, no matter how good or bad we've been. It is the great equalizer, or so I've heard. A chill creeps down your spine as you listen to your hostess' speech. She is not wrong, but the inherent mortality of all humankind, it is not something you wish to contemplate. It is too disturbing. For the longest of time, my family was a small one. It was just my father and me. But that was fine. It was how I like it. I was very happy, even if our lives weren't the best. I've never had any fancy clothes to wear. Well, this is actually very fancy, if you think about it. And we can dine on the finest food. In the grand scheme of things, we ain't anything we ain't, anything that special. But I always felt otherwise. I thought that I was blessed. We knew hardship, of course, and famine. But that's just the way life is around here. When food supplies were low, we always helped one another out. I had my father, but I also had the rest of the village. We all looked after one another, and things always worked out in the end. At least they did. Until the plague happened. Yes, she had mentioned the plague. You have been wondering when she was going to return to that topic. Also, why she didn't die because of the plague. You suppose that the plague is the reason that the villages as you traversed were so very empty. You'd suppose right. The plague tore through the village. I don't remember when. It feels like it was a while ago, but maybe it wasn't all that long after all. It feels like you've been on my own for centuries, but your hostess' eyes begin to cloud over. She looks as though she entranced with her own memories. What could she be remembering? You have never seen a plague before, though you have heard of them in your history lessons. Your history professor was quite enthusiastic about the subject. She talked about the piles of dead bodies stuck up on the streets, and stuck it up in wooden carts come to take them away, with no shortage of aplomb. She was a strange woman. Your history professor. The plague came on very suddenly. There was no warning. One day everyone was fine, and the next they were all dead. It is with no small amount of anxiety that you eye the grave digger. Then you ask, buoyantly, surely they could not all have died? Is that not an exaggeration? Oh, if only. I wish I was exaggerating, but it is the truth, honest to God. The people in the village died one after another, just like that. I saw what that plague does to people firsthand. My father was one of the first people who caught it. I think one of the bodies which came through that we buried must have it. Not that I know for certain, I'm just guessing still. My father didn't have any easy time of it. His skin turned all grey and clammy, and he complained of horrible fever. There were night sweet stomach cramps. How comes you didn't get any if you are a gravedigger? You touch like that body afflicted by the plague. Why you're not dead? Hmm? Hmm? And then there were the boils. The boils? Fustules. They were the size of a hag, and they were full of pus. When they burst and stung, the whole house was full of the stink of death. Oh my god, it is actually horrible to imagine. The wise woman of the village came to see if she could be any of use, but it was no good. My father was too far gone already. Guys, by the way, we're not gonna read for 2 hours today. I'm a little bit dizzy. Okay, so we're gonna do something like 1 hour. We still have something like 20 minutes, and then we're gonna conclude the live because I don't want to get too tired, okay? She took one look at him, lying on his deathbed, and she shook her head. She said she didn't want to get any closer. I can't say I blame her. It was a ghastly sight. I didn't appreciate it at the time, though. It felt like she was turning her back on us. I wished her healed. I remember that after she left, until a few days passed and she fell sick too. Then I felt bad for cursing her. I couldn't help but worry if it was all my fault. It's silly, I know, but... The gravedigger closed her eyes. She seems to squeeze her lids together until her lashes melt like a flake on a fallen snow. Her shoulders, which are very slender, are shaking. She looks as tough as she might at any moment fall apart. It wasn't long after that the rest of the village fell ill. They all had the same symptoms as my father, the clammy skin and the fever and the boils. The boils grew and they burst and they died in screaming, stinging agony. Oh my god, it's actually terrible, really terrible. My father died too, only 3 days after he fell ill, but I think even that it was 3 days too many. I didn't want my father to die, of course. I did everything I could to help him, but it was all pointless. None of my herbal selves had any impact. I couldn't make a blind bit of a difference. All I did was stand about his beside, telling him it'd be right, until his eyes sunk into the skulls like a true black stone in his mouth dried out. Oh my god, what kind of plug is that? During that last day before he died, he might have been corpse already. He didn't look at me, he didn't speak to me, he just lay in the bed with his eyes closed groaning. I never wishes any ill on my father before, but during those moments the grave digger squeezed her hand, which are resting upon her black-clad lap, into fists. She trembles. Then in a voice troubling with awful emotion she said, I wish he just died. Well, based on her anecdote, it does not sound like she had overlying long to wait. I wonder if she would consider the silver lining. No, perhaps not. The grave digger is still shaking. She will not cry, shall we? You hope not. Awkwardly, you look at the grave digger. You are not sure how to shoot her. But you know you must make some sort of a effort, even if it is a token one. You shift upon your chair, which feels very cold and hard beneath your thighs. Then you say very softly that you are sorry. It is not much, but it's all you can think of saying. You have thought initially that your situation was comparable to that of the gravedigger, But now you can see that this is not the case. Her suffering has far outstripped your own. Not that suffering is a competition, of course. Your apology feels inadequate to your ears, largely because it is, but the gravedigger seems not to mind it. She is very big-hearted, that girl, to smile at you, so matter how foolish you might be. Do you really deserve such a kindness? Oh, again, with the apologize. It is alright, like I said. You didn't cause any of this. I'm not upset at you. I'm just recounting what happened. What happened in his soul. I do wonder, though, why I never fell sick myself. Indeed, I'm wondering too. Why? Why? Are you a monster? Huh? Are you tricking us? Did you kill all those people that there is no plague? I thought he was going to die, so I already prepared for the Reaper to come and take me away. But maybe he wasn't interested. Maybe he'd already satiated his appetite on all the others. That, or maybe he thought he'd have to leave me alive for practically sake. Oh, because you are a grave digger, so you need to, dig the graves. With my father gone, who else would tend to the dead? I was the only person left by the end of it all, so I had to bury the people in the village. They're all resting peacefully now under the earth, where the plague can't reach them. I think the plague can actually reach them, because you're not gonna dig more than 2 meters of a hole. On the other hand, I'm happy for them. They were able to escape from all their suffering. When I think about all the people I've lost, though, the gravedigger tenses. Then she sniffs. When I think about it, the kindly washwoman who helped me scrub the mud and the dirt from my clothes. So this village did have its fair share of washerwomen after all. It seems your early insistence upon this particular point was not without merit. And the handsome young farmhands who wished to flirt with me, also you had somebody. The priestess who preached the church, who told us a wonderful tale of paradise, and the children who would skip stone in the lake and play hopscotch in the streets. I can't help but feel so lonely. The gravedigger eyes begin to shine once she has finished her dress with tears, but she does not let them fall. She is being very brave, much more so than you are. Anxiously, you extend an hand towards her, meaning to. What? Give her a hug? We do not know her well enough. Pat her head? That would be infantilizing. Squeeze her hand? Perhaps there could be Oh my god. How do you read this? Misconstrued? I don't have an idea, I never read this one. As a romantic overture, and that is the last things you want. You endure more than your fair share of teasing over that. You sit that for a few moments paralyzed by indecisions, as the gravedigger poorly suppresses her sniffles. In the end, you let your arm drop back your side. Your hand rests upon your lap, as useful as a damp kindling. You do not know what to do with it. You do not know what you ought or to say something, though, to show that you heard her plight and that you care. You do not know what this something should be, however. No words could ever console the gravedigger. They would never be enough. And with that, guys, we save the run and we stop the live because I'm getting really, really dizzy. And these words, oh my god, they're so difficult for me. Even normal English is difficult for me, and I'm reading all the English. My god, why did I ever do that? But anyway, guys, as usual, thank you for the company. If you feel like leave a follow, be part of the community, and we see each other tomorrow with other games. Perhaps I would try to do a karaoke live. I will see how my voice is. If it's good, we're gonna do karaoke live. But for the most, check the Discord, put the bell on so you can have notification about my lives, and we see each other tomorrow. Have a nice one, guys, and see you next time.